Hey guys, I'm just doing a quick follow-up video on, I suppose, my recovery video that I did back at the start of September. Got a huge amount of messages back on it, and look, predominantly positive. So, look, it was an easy video to do for me because for, I suppose, 11 months I was looking every evening for recovery stories myself online and not really finding much. So as soon as I recovered, I knew that was the first thing I wanted to do, was just let people know. For the majority of us, I think it does end, and you get back to where you were, or even better in some cases. Um, so yeah, there was also a lot of questions that came through, and I initially tried to answer the majority of them directly or on the posts, wherever they were shared. But I just couldn't. I couldn't keep up with the amount of questions that came through. So what I've done over the last couple of days is just gone through what you guys had been asking, and I just put together a list essentially of the most common questions, just so I can answer them here. And it's the easiest way to get back, because there was a few gaps, I suppose, that I left in the message, but I was sharing it with long COVID people who I assume knew my story from previous, just on the boards and whatever. There's also, I just want to point out, there was a few people who seemed to take my video as the message being positivity is the cure and a positive attitude. Obviously not. Look, I'm not a medical person at all myself. I was just essentially saying that the alternative side, being negative and searching for negative things, and endlessly Googling horror stories about other diseases that it seems similar to, won't get you anywhere. It just simply won't. So that's not my message at all. I'm not saying be positive and rainbows are going to shoot out your arse. I'm just saying be positive, get the cobwebs off your body. Once you've passed that stage where you feel like for maybe 5-6 months for myself, I couldn't budge, and there was no chance I was going to budge. But once you kind of start to feel that physical recovery, at least, definitely, look, your body's has been deconditioned for months on end, sitting on the bed, sitting on the couch, so you do need to get back out there, slow walks, build yourself back up, and just get the cobwebs off, essentially. That's my message, and it's I'm not prescribing that, and I'm not selling anything, not affiliated with anything, so I'm just essentially sharing what my experience was. That's it, no more. But yeah, no, so I have a list of the most common questions here. I'm just going to go through them as quick as possible, because I know the last video was a bit mental, and I have 3 kids running around the house here, and I'm sure they will interrupt us at some stage. So yeah, the main question I guess I was asked was, was I still on the stack of vitamins for the NAD protocol? And I am. To be honest, with the niacin side of things, I genuinely think I'll probably just stay on it for whenever, as long as I want, really. So the niacin seems to be widely used in the States as well for people with high cholesterol, and despite me working out like a lunatic, I have a family history of cholesterol, so my cholesterol's always floated around 6. It's now down below, I think, 4.7 at the last reading. I haven't changed my diet, so it can only be the niacin, thankfully, so I will 100% keep that. So yeah, the stack that I do, so I do niacin in a nicotinic acid form, so the flushing type, not the other junk. So I do 150 milligrams twice a day. I used to do 100 3 times a day, but I now just like getting it done. I actually take it without food because I kind of like the flush, and I don't get the flush if I take it with food. So that's personal preference, I think. Then there's selenium, zinc, vitamin D, vitamin C. I don't think I'm missing anything else there. And then the one thing that Dr. Abe Wenzel added after the protocol document was posted was a thing called methylfolate, which is essentially a methyl version of folic acid. Just keeps your methyl pools healthy while you're taking niacin, which can deplete it over time. So methylfolate, I take 400 micrograms of that, and it's widely available. I think it's Jarrow Formula is the brand that I use. I should have actually had them here just to show you, but yeah, I think it's Jarrow Formula. I can post a picture afterwards. Look, as well as that, I guess, as well as a lot of you have probably tried multiple things that you see noted in the boards. I tried that as well. Like early doors, I tried. I just have a few wrote down here: CoQ10, NAC, um, I can't even remember the amount of things. L-carnitine, I think, was another thing. Ludicrous amounts of money spent on stuff that did nothing, essentially. The one thing that actually caused negative effects for myself was ivermectin. I tried that back in, I think, February, and that kind of started the spiral of my anxiety spiking like a crazy thing. So, don't know if that, like, I'm sure it might benefit some people. I just had no positivity from it whatsoever. Next question up was when I started the stack. So I had COVID at the start of October last year. The long COVID symptoms started around the middle of October, and I started the stack at the end of December. So I came across that article, and then I started the stack immediately, I think just before Christmas. And actually, within a week, I felt that 80% of my physical symptoms had dissipated, genuinely. Because up to that point, I couldn't get out of the bed for more than an hour at a time. I was at that level of just illness, and couldn't pick up the kids, couldn't do anything like that. So after that, I could kind of start to do general day-to-day things. Still no exercise, still no walking, anything like that, but it steadily improved from there on. So yeah, that was December, around about the 20th, I believe. And look, just with the stack, people hear a stack and they're like, okay, that's a lot of stuff. You're popping a lot of pills, and I have a pill box there with stuff in it, and it looks mad. But if you actually look at it, what you would take in a normal multivitamin or Barocca, there's a list of 20 things in there. So all we're doing is taking whatever 6-7 items that we seem to be deficient in with this long COVID thing, and replenishing it. That's all it is. So there's nothing mental. Like niacin, selenium, zinc, vitamin D, vitamin C, all of those will generally be in a multivitamin anyway. It's just you're taking a different dosage of it, and you're stripping out all the other junk. Yeah, so next up I see, did I get post-exertional malaise? And hell yes I did. And post-exertional malaise for me would have been anything from going food shopping to climbing the stairs one too many times in a day, like ludicrous stuff. And I actually remember I felt so much better from taking the NAD stack initially over Christmas and New Year's that I tried a 10 or 12 minute kickboxing workout here at home at the start of January, and I was in bed for about 3 weeks afterwards. Just ludicrous. Then once that ended, there was snow here in Ireland, and I had a 2-3 minute snow fight with the kids and was back in bed for another week. So yeah, look, I had that the whole way through. Like with those relapses, they're really it's soul destroying, because you think you're getting better and then all of a sudden you're down a slope again. It happens that you'll slowly notice the relapses become less and less severe and less common. And that's all you can do. It is a huge amount of patience, especially when you see gobshites like me freaking posting workouts now, which I'm only doing to show you that I'm not relapsing again, essentially. So it's hard to look at that and see people back to the gym and your friends out and about, or whatever it may be. But just be patient. Those will become less and less severe to the point where you won't feel them, and then they're gone, thankfully. So yeah, post-exertional malaise, I think the majority of people seem to get that with it. It's one of the most common symptoms, especially with anyone who was very active previously, because we tend to push ourselves more going out the other end. A lot of people asking about the olive oil thing that I mentioned in the last thing. So the olive oil is part of the Autophagy Protocol from Tom Bunker. So I tried a few different autophagy protocols. I actually did some fasting weekends and everything as well, and I felt some benefit to them, but I'm at the point where I couldn't really fast any longer, because I'm about 80 kilos and 6 foot. So if I lose any weight, I just feel it immediately. It's not bad weight that I'm losing. So olive oil essentially is, there's a there's stuff inside the olive oil, I guess. I don't even know the name of it. I'm not going to pretend to know the name of it. That helps your cells recycle old dead cells and create new cells. So essentially, if you have a virus or anything like that, it takes all the old stuff, trucks it out, recycles it into brand new cells. So it speeds up that process. Your body's already doing it all the time, but this kind of speeds it up. So what I was doing was I was taking 2 tablespoons of olive oil in the morning, and then I was doing that maybe every 4th or 5th day, just to kind of speed things along. Felt some benefit to it, I think. It's hard to tell because there's so many ups and downs with this. But yeah, I think it did speed things along, especially towards the initial part of it, up until maybe Jan, Feb, that kind of stage. I also see a few comments, like, I guess it's not negative comments, it's just kind of people like trying to, I suppose say, you're not clearly not as sick as I am. I'm in bits here, and look at you, you're grand. I was brutal, like really bad. Physically, for the first few months was just ludicrous. I couldn't, like, thankfully I'm an analyst, so I'm working off a laptop, so I could lie in the bed or lie on the couch and do my work when the brain fog wasn't hitting. But I couldn't, if I had to go do food shopping, that would be me spent for 2-3 days. Ludicrous, to the point where I was drinking protein shakes because I hadn't got the energy to chew on food. So really bad. So I mean, it's not a competition. Everyone's in this together. And look, there will be people with lasting damage. I know it's the minority from what I can see in early studies, where people might have some lung damage left over or some heart damage. And look, obviously I can't comment on those cases because that's not my thing. But look, for the majority of us, we've been through 1 million tests and we've been cleared of physical damage. So it's just, yeah, that's it. It's just not comparing yourself to others. Look, you might have stuff worse. Like my anxiety, for example, in March through to May, was insane. To the point where I went to A&E one of the days. I went 3 times, I think, in total. I went to A&E one of the days just so I wasn't on my own to do something, God knows what, So let's not beat around the bush here. It was fucking bad. Yeah, so also I see a few people saying that, oh look, you might have your energy back, but you don't look like you have your neurological problem solved. You're itching yourself a lot in the first video. I mean, I'm not a blogger. I'm a bit nervous when I'm on camera. Also, I probably had taken niacin that morning, so when you get the niacin flush, everything itches. Like, there's nothing more to read into that. I don't have any effects, thankfully. What form of vitamins? Yeah, so look, with the stack, there's 3 of them really that you kind of need to be, I think you need to be fussy with. So obviously the methylfolate that I mentioned there, the Jarrow formula one, make sure it's methylfolate, not just folic acid. It's just, you need that methyl group as a donor to your body for the niacin. The niacin itself, nicotinic acid, has to be the flushing form. I use Solgar brand, which I just find it's one of the more reputable ones. And then with vitamin D, I generally, and this is even before long COVID, I generally prefer liposomal version. So it's a liquid version that you keep in the fridge, and it's just way more absorbable by the body. Especially us here in Ireland, we get 3.5 hours of sun a year. So the vitamin D is kind of important on our side of the Atlantic. A few people asking if I had heart issues. I didn't really notice any heart issues, but my resting heart rate went from 49 up to 68, 69. And that was, and if I stood up, like it jumped up what I think would be more than normal, into the 120 or so mark. It's now back down resting 47 is my average resting heart rate for the last couple of months. So thankfully that's back to normal. Also the other measure that I keep an eye on is and I can't even think of the name of it now. I'll come back to it. Yeah, anyway, sorry. There was another question there, am I still on the Prozac? So I started the Prozac back in May when the anxiety was just off the charts. I am still on it. I'm on the lowest dose possible. And my doctor said to stay on it till maybe after Christmas and then wean off. So that's the plan. I've missed a couple of doses and I haven't felt any ill effects. So I'm open to going off it. If it's an issue going off it, I don't mind staying on it. Look, I've family members who are on medication for years and years, and look, I've no side effects from it. I think the only thing that it stops you from doing is drinking alcohol. I don't generally drink anyway. One of the very rare Irishmen that doesn't drink all that much. That's kind of it, I think. I don't know if I've missed that. I'm sure if I've missed something, you'll tell me. But yeah, look, just keep at it. It is a long slog. It really is. But it does end, and I'm now, what am I now? What, the 16th of October. So I am, a month and a half cured, fully back training. Fully back training for me is jiu-jitsu, kickboxing, and then calisthenics stuff here at home. So it's quite heavy. I generally aim to do maybe 5 workouts a week, and that's what I've done. I've threw in a couple of hikes as well with the family at the weekends. And yeah, no relapses, no ill effects. Feeling good. Back to normal. If anything, like my resting heart rate is lower than it was previously, and yeah, I might have actually cured some previous ill effects that I had, just with the vitamin stack and improving my lifestyle over the last while. So yeah, look, keep at it. Stay positive. Try and keep off Google. Don't read too much into the stuff that links you with other illnesses, because there's similar symptoms and whatnot. So look, wishing you guys the best, and yeah, I'll chat to you all soon. Say bye, alls.